And we're back. Thank you guys again for tuning in to Fresh Out of College podcast. Since there's no sports being played, my weekly segment of Perform of the Week has yet to be continued, but I have another blast from the past. So ESPN recently announced that they're going to do a new doc series on LeBron James and the decision that happened nearly a decade ago, I believe. And this was between where is he going to go? His first big free agency. So their new doc series that will kind of show the backstory and how that kind of transcended into a lot of people not liking him with a lot of setbacks. But that will premiere August 18th. So for this segment, I kind of wanted to like relive it and kind of explore what happened. So as I said, it happened in 2010 on July 8th, so right after the 4th of July. And it was an hour-long ESPN special. This was the first time that any professional player has gone on television for an hour and kind of, I mean, how long does it take you to say a decision? But it took an hour, and it occurred in Connecticut at the Boys and Girls Club. All the proceeds that happened went back to charity, which is really good. A little fun fact here is that 13-year-old Donovan Mitchell, now a player for the Utah Jazz, was actually outside the Boys and Girls Center when this happened. So
That's cool.
He was 13 years old. So kind of getting into it, LeBron James, at this time had won 2 NBA MVPs. So he was, 25 years old. He was at the height of his stardom. Everybody wanted him, coming off 2 MVPs. But during his first stint with the Cavaliers, he had only won one. He had only gone to the finals, the NBA finals once, and that was, of course, against the Spurs, which they got swept in 4 games. It wasn't great. So they've only made it once to the finals with the Cavs. So he was kind of getting uneasy with it, and they just weren't winning. His supporting cast had Mo Williams, Delonte West. It wasn't great. He's had better ones. But yeah, and then this was also coming off the season where they had a 2-1 series lead over the Boston Celtics, which had their big 3 at the time: Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce. They actually had a 2-1 series lead, but they fumbled it. LeBron James didn't play his best game. Obviously, the supporting cast couldn't help him, even when he did have a bad game. So they ended up losing that series in 6. A lot of people thought this was the end, and they would soon be right. So there's actually 6 possible destinations that LeBron James was considering at the time. The LA Clippers were one. This was the second year of Blake Griffin. So Blake Griffin's rookie year, he did not play, obviously. I think he broke his leg. I don't know what happened, but he missed the whole season. But the whole intrigue was the big lights, and then Blake Griffin. And at the time, they had Baron Davis as well. The New York Knicks were also probably the choice. I think everybody had them going to the New York Knicks just because of big lights. They had a huge payroll, so they could pay another star in free agency. This was like LeBron James. This was what the media was thinking LeBron James was going to go to. And then the Brooklyn Nets were also in contention, but they only won 12 games the prior year.
Vince Carter there during that time?
Vince Carter for the Nets 10 years ago.
I'll fact check that.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about, like all these teams, like who was there? Like,
exactly.
For Clippers, there really wasn't much.
I don't think he was, because they won 12 games last year, or the prior year.
Okay.
But then again, Vince Carter's been in the league for like 60 years, so it could have been one.
I think he said he was there from 2004.
2004. Okay.
So I mean, he wasn't at the peak of his career though, for sure.
So he was there for 2004.
2004 to 2009.
Okay, so he just left because this was 2010.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I guess they lose Vince Carter. But the big intrigue was Jay-Z, because he was the co-owner there. So, and he was really good friends with LeBron James, and still is good friends with LeBron James. But yeah, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers, they could obviously offer the most money and they're the hometown hero in the sense. This is who LeBron James grew up in Akron, Ohio, so this is like his team.
Mhm.
And then the Chicago Bulls were another one. This is the year they had Derrick Rose, right? They had Joakim Noah, who was good, was really, really good. I think he was one. He's kind of like the Draymond Green, kind of this year's. But and then they also had Carlos Bruiser, who was another during his prime. I mean, this is 10 years ago, so this is way, way back. But basically, their pitch, the Bulls' pitch, from what I read, was that they brought in Michael Jordan, or they were talking about Michael Jordan. It was like, you can be LeBron, you can be the next, you can carry the torch that he left. And that kind of, I mean, LeBron James at the time idolized him. So this was a huge, huge thing. And then, so they had the cap money. They had the best team. The experts were saying that LeBron could go to and kind of follow in LeBron James or in Michael Jordan's footsteps. And then the last team was the Miami Heat. They had a lot of cap space. They didn't have the most cap space. Dwayne Wade was a free agent, as well as LeBron James. So there was kind of uncertainty there. But in big market, and of course, as we know, the very next day or the day before LeBron makes the decision, Dwayne Wade signs with the Miami Heat, and then Chris Bosh signs with the Miami Heat, further entrenching everybody's kind of hunch now after the two sign with Miami Heat. He ends up choosing the Miami Heat. LeBron James faces a lot of backlash because it took an hour, and just because he said it on national television and kind of broke the hearts of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But yeah, then history is made. LeBron James goes on to get his most beloved NBA championship and many more. But yeah, so just kind of want to relive that moment. He kind of grew the impact of forming these super teams and being the one to choose his destiny, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, that's a little blast from the past.
Nice. That was very cool. I'm excited to see that documentary. After watching the Ken Griffey one and realizing how good that one was, I'm sure this one will be just as good. And I'm sure we'll probably see more documentaries happen just during this time when, there's not a lot of sports going on, or maybe they already have a bunch made. They're just waiting to release them. So excited for that. But this is also cool, right? Because it's not just about LeBron James' whole entire career. Like, he's still a player, but they're talking specifically about that decision, I think, which would be really interesting too. Yeah, it did have a really big impact on like the NBA because he was the one person, this was the guy, this was a 25-year-old LeBron, know. But yeah, and I think you're right. They are going to make more documentaries. And I think what I read is that ESPN just this morning announced that they're going to do a doc series on Colin Kaepernick and I think maybe his high school or maybe college life, but that'll also be cool. Yeah, so a lot to look forward to. Ryota, do you want to give us your weekly segment? Yeah. So again, the world record hunt, where I bring up an interesting world record I found. Who knows? Maybe at one point I'll actually attempt to do these world records. There you go. During the podcast. But for today, so there's this record held by Ashrita Furman, and it is the world record for the most Smarties and M&Ms eaten in 1 minute, blindfolded using chopsticks. It's pretty quirky. Like, Guinness World Records has all these records you could do at home while you're in quarantine, which is kind of cool. This is one of them. But the only rule is you can only pick up one Smartie or M&M at a time. So you can't try to grab 5 at a time. And I don't know. I'm kind of interested in maybe trying this at some point. In 1 minute, I just need to buy some Smarties and M&Ms. I have chopsticks at home. I need to blindfold myself. I don't know how easy or tough that is. He got they got 20. So in 1 minute. Yeah. So it's about one for every 3 seconds. Yeah, you would need to blindfolded though. I mean, that's obviously that only thing making it hard. But we'll see. I mean, good luck. You have time. You are in quarantine. So maybe I'll practice a little bit and we can try to break that record on live stream or something. Yeah, perfect. For all our fans. Yeah. That's a good one. That is perfect for the time we are in right now. Yeah. But I encourage everyone to, if they're bored at home, check out the Guinness World Records site. They have some fun ones you could try to break. Yeah. And just it seems fun.
I mean, that's something, and then you just send the video in, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was an apply button when I was looking at it, so I think you need to pre-apply maybe, and then tell them. I don't really know how it works, but yeah. So now getting into our short-term memory segment as per usual. First thing first, I wanted to congratulate Liverpool, or we wanted to congratulate Liverpool for winning the English Premier League. It's a weird way they won. It's not like they played a game and then they figured out they won, or it wasn't like they needed to win or tie to win the league. It was they won the previous day, and then the deciding match was between Chelsea and Man City, which we actually talked about last week, I think, with Shane.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't realize
who ended up winning that game.
Chelsea did.
Okay.
And Man City was slightly favored. And this is last week when we were talking about it with Shane, I didn't realize. I totally forgot how impactful this game was for Liverpool. But Man City was in second place, I think, if you remember. But they had a very slim chance of contending. Like they could have won first place if they won every single game, and Liverpool lost all of them or something like that.
Oh, really?
But I think it was a clear consensus Liverpool was going to win at some point, but this happened to be the time because Man City got too many games behind and lost against Chelsea. So, cool fact: it's been 30 years since Liverpool's last title, and it becomes the 19th time they've won.
Oh my gosh.
And the most times a team has won is 20, which was Manchester United.
So the EPL still is going on? This is like probably the earliest they've clinched, or like
this is one of the earlier times a team has clinched. I didn't check. I don't think it's the earliest it's ever happened because I didn't read that in the news or anything. But I mean, the weird thing about soccer or like these kind of formats when it's league oriented with points, the league somebody can win easily and there's still games left. So it might not be as interesting to watch. But I mean, just Liverpool is a really cool example because they got their new coach, Jurgen Klopp, in 2015. And during that time, Liverpool's been like a historically really good team, like a Yankee or Red Sox, kind of comparison. But they've kind of struggled in the past, 5-10 years. They've been like good, like top 5, top 6 kind of team, but they've really struggled to make that jump to first. And like I said, they haven't won in 30 years. And this coach comes in from Germany, where he had a really successful team in Germany and the German league. Comes in 2015, signed some really good players, kind of underrated at the time, and now he's built this powerhouse of a team the last couple of years. Very competitive in the UEFA Champions League, and now obviously they won this league by just no competition. So it's a cool example.
You also have to be good, I think, right? Isn't this based off like demotions, and like if you don't perform well, you get demoted, or does that not happen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, if you finish like the last 2 spots, so like I don't know, I can't remember how many teams are in the league, but if you finish, let's say 16th and 15th, you get demoted to the second league. Like it'd be like the AAA, like baseball kind of thing. But
that's nuts.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. So you see 2 new teams in the league every year.
Yeah,
as they keep moving, because the top 2 teams in the AAA will be moved up too. So just kind of a cool incentive that the English and just European soccer leagues do. It's definitely different.
Yeah, but they've never been demoted, so like that just shows how, I guess, they're not like the worst. They've never been the worst of the worst, right?
No, yeah. I mean, they've always been a well-known team. I mean, they've won the league 19 times. They're second, for most, but they just have a long history of being really good. But yeah, recently they haven't, been able to, take that step, like some of the modern teams right now. But really proud of them. They also have a lot of players that I really like. They don't have players you can hate. They don't have controversial Odell Beckhams or Kevin Durant's or whatever it might be. They're all really well likable guys, which is cool too. So.
Well, congrats to them. Also, what happened last week was the Travelers Championship. And yesterday, Dustin Johnson pulled out a win, beating Kevin Streelman by 1 stroke. So he shot a 19 under. And this marks Dustin Johnson's 21st PGA Tour win. So congrats to him. The next tour will be this weekend, and Rocket Mortgage tournament in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll have an update next week.
Yeah, too bad. Shane chose Bryson Beefcake. I forgot what his last name is. Desham.
Yeah, he did. I don't know. So I don't know.
Shane, you've been cold lately.
I don't know if like how betting works with golf, but I don't know if his bet was for him to be number one
Yeah, that's
or like to
true.
finish and like I don't even know where the guy finished.
Because
I
I
only looked
remember
at
when I
the.
was watching on Saturday, which is the third day of the tournament,
Mhm.
he was on the like first page. Like, you know how they show the standings and it goes to the second page? Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about? He was on the first page for the third day. I think he's like a 15 under. So maybe he just had a rough fourth day. But I
yeah.
mean,
I
he was
mean,
there. I mean, Shane was right. He's been playing really well.
he has been. So maybe he did get his locks in.
Yeah,
We'll have to
we'll
talk
have
to
to
him and see
check
what
in with him.
happens. But yeah, Dustin Johnson wins the Travelers Cup shooting 19 under. So congrats to him.
Good, good. Okay. Next up, UFC. Last week we talked about with Shane again some of his top picks.
Mhm.
He for the main event it was Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker, and I think Shane said Poirier was a clear lock, and he did win. This was a lightweight group, and he won by decision. The co-main event was the welterweights, Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall. Mike Perry beat him. And then for another fight, I know we talked about last week with him, was Brendan Allen versus Kyle Daukaus. Um, this was a middleweight, and Allen beat Daukaus by decision. I think Shane also picked Allen for that one.
Wow.
So pretty good for UFC.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. All right, the NHL draft happened last Friday. Um, some fun stuff happened. Team placeholder E, Team E, that is yet to be determined, secured the number one pick. They had a 2.5% chance of winning the lottery and ended up winning it. So how the NHL works really quickly is that they have 15 teams, right? The first 7 teams are the teams that are not in the playoffs. So just think of it like the NBA. If you don't make the playoffs, you have the best chance. So so one team probably was the worst team but didn't get the number one pick. Then the other 8 teams of the 15 are in the qualifying round and have a chance to make it to the playoffs. The qualifying rounds is between the number 5 team and the number 12 team. So basically what happened last Friday was that the number one team that is going to be picking is in this qualifying round. So they could be either the number 5 seeded team in the playoffs that got upsetted or the number 12 team. Either way, they were a playoff team, and pretty crazy stuff, to say the least. This is, I mean, the number one pick in NHL is going to be on a fringe playoff team instead of one of the worst teams. So it's a pretty good event. I mean, good odds for them. Lately, the NHL draft has had not such good luck. Over the last 10 years, there's only been 2 clear favorites that have won the lottery. Toronto in 2016 and Buffalo in 2018. So, I mean, take it as you will. I guess being a favorite to win the lottery isn't always the best. So, but congrats to placeholder E to secure the number one pick, and we'll find out who that is
Yeah,
in
an
the coming
interesting
weeks.
thing about the NHL this year, they have like a clear number one pick. So whoever, I mean, this lucky team who had 2.5% chance of winning the first pick is going to get Alexis Lafreniere, most likely.
Wow.
Apparently he's like a lock. He's 18 from Canada, 6'1". He's like a lock.
Oh my
Like he's a
gosh,
guaranteed first pick.
that's
So
crazy.
that team
Yeah,
is very lucky that
yeah,
get
that's unreal.
a player that every team wants right now. So
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's not like you're gonna get like in the draft, like the Anthony Bennett draft. You didn't know Giannis was there, you know.
exactly.
But this? I'm not comparing this to like a Zion, but you know this is a clear pick. Like,
Hmm.
so that just hurts. That's puts the wound, digs the. What am I trying to say? It just hurts even more for the teams
Yeah, yeah.
that went through a losing season. So, but yeah,
Okay, next up, Vince Ricardo retired. Sad face for all NBA fans, I think. Um, but I mean, he's had an illustrious career. I mean, he's 43 years old, UNC product. He interesting was. Did you know that he was drafted to the? Well, do you know what team he got drafted by? I'll ask you that.
the Raptors
See, that's what you think,
or
but
the
he got
Nets.
drafted by the Warriors.
Oh wow,
He was the 5th pick to the Warriors, but then he got traded. That's
to
why.
to Toronto.
Yeah. So no
Okay,
one knows about the whole. I had no idea about the Warriors until I
that's
did some
very
research.
interesting. Yeah.
But the more interesting thing is, the Warriors picked 4th, and they picked Vince's teammate from UNC. I forgot what his name was, Jameer something. but then they flipped right after they picked.
Wow.
I
That is
either like read that wrong or that just seems very weird to me.
So he was picked. So
Vince Carter was picked 5th by the Warriors. His teammate was picked 4th by the Raptors. They flipped picks.
Oh, okay. So they just
I
traded.
think.
So it's kind of like the Trae Young thing, Trae Young Luka thing. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
pretty
interesting.
much.
Yeah, and it's always so funny how this works because you're always associated with that player. You know, your draft day trade.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is interesting. You know, there's also as kind of like you said, when the Michael Jordan doc happened, I didn't realize that the Seattle SuperSonics, and as much as a big fan I am, I didn't realize the Sonics had um, Scottie Pippen for like 20 minutes and then traded him. So
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, all of the big players end up getting traded first for a draft trade.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We need to talk about the Sonics later. I made like a video edit on TikTok I was kind of proud of.
Oh,
but we
God.
should review some of those players because we had some really good players.
Yeah, I mean, not we, but the Sonics were a great team, especially when the Michael Jordan era happened. Gary Payton, of course, Kemp, but we'll get into that, and then the loss of the Sonics. We should do an episode about the loss of the Sonics, just an hour
we'll
long.
definitely talk about that, and which team should come to Seattle.
Oh,
but I want to talk a little bit more about Vince. Just
go.
Pay tribute
Do him
to
justice.
him. He played on 8 different teams, so he's well traveled. But it's not like wouldn't consider him like the type that is not loyal. Just more like he wanted to play more and continue his passion for the game. That's why he ended up on so many different teams. But I mean, he had a huge impact with the Raptors. They were kind of in a weird time, and when he came in, he really tried to get them to the playoffs, and they kind of became a better team. And kind of why we know the Raptors as a good team now. I think it has to do a lot with Vince and his impact. Let's see. He is the only player in NBA history to play 22 seasons and in 4 different decades.
That's crazy.
And he's 43, and he's a role player for the Hawks, but he still played. Which is crazy to think. I don't know if we'll ever, maybe LeBron because he's in good shape, but it's hard to see. But he won the Rookie of the Year, 8-time All-Star, dunk contest champion in 2000, and obviously we know him for all of his dunks, I think. But I mean, he was a great teammate. I mean, he wasn't a controversial player at all, which I really enjoy about players like Vince and Derek Jeter and the people like that.
That's crazy. 43 years old, and we're probably gonna see LeBron. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
He kept in great shape. I don't think he had a really big injury.
No, not that I can remember. Yeah.
So spectacular shape, impeccable to say the least. But yeah, it kind of does. It does hamper the mood that we are in this whole COVID thing, and he didn't really get the send off that a lot of players do get.
Yeah, I think he would have he deserves a lot, I think.
Yeah. So. Well, all right. So moving on to baseball, San Francisco Giants just announced that they will be contacting their season ticket holders, and saying, "Send us an image of yourself. We'll put it where you usually sit in the stadium." So I think that's pretty cool. Kind of gives the season ticket holders a little bit of like a gift, since they won't be paying for the season because no fans will be permitted in the stadium. So whenever you see a San Francisco Giants game, you will see little heads or little like faces. They also opened it up to other fans, and it's just a $99 fee. But I mean, that's pretty cool. I might even do that, even if I'm not a Giants fan. I might say, put me in the stands, and I can see my face while Giant games go on. So pretty cool. But yeah. And then do you want to talk about Cam Newton? Cam Newton just announced that he is signing to the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
yesterday.
I mean, 31 years old, and I mean, he's been with the Panthers for so long and had some really good years with them. And I mean, arguably one of the better quarterbacks in their history, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know a lot of the Patriots fans are happy. I mean, our friend Ethan's, I think he's ecstatic that they signed Cam. I mean, they needed to sign a quarterback. I think they needed to get somebody, obviously, to replace Brady. But it'll be weird seeing a Brady to Cam switch. If it was like a Brady to, I don't know, Rodgers or something like that, like it wouldn't be that weird because they're not super mobile out of the pocket. The play style is kind of similar, but you see Cam, who likes to run, who likes to truck people,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, and show off. It'll be weird to see how it kind of fits into the offense. But I think I always like the way Cam plays. I think he makes it fun. He has a cannon of an arm. He's, mobile. Um, I still remember like the ball he didn't go get when he fumbled it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Besides that, like I still kind of think of him as a great player and someone fun to watch. So
Yeah, he's definitely had like a storied career, even in college. I know he was on that Florida team with Tim Tebow, and then
yeah,
he transferred to
with the
Auburn,
Auburn.
and well, he first went JUCO and then went to Auburn, but then
But we all know about that. Yeah.
going Heisman and just it's crazy. And then he comes into the league number 1 overall in 2011, wins the MVP in 2015, and then goes on to face the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Of course, the Broncos win, but I mean, he's still a great player. Granted, he has had injuries, a lot of injuries. I don't know if he is the gunslinger that he is now, but it's just crazy how the Patriots land on this guy. Everybody's not signing him. I expected the Patriots to probably land a draft pick this year. Either that be Julian Love or I don't know, Jalen Hurts, but they decided to go the free agent route, and I think Belichick likes that. So he doesn't have to like coach up, groom a player. But we'll see what happens. Is it a 1-year deal, right? It's a 1-year deal.
Yeah, 1-year deal. I mean, so far we already know that it's incentive based.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that like you said earlier, or you said yesterday, it's low risk, high reward, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. But it's interesting to think. Yeah, I mean, there were so many great quarterbacks this year in the draft, but they went with. They're just kind of like, we're fine. We have Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So
Stidham.
I wonder if maybe they have a lot of hope in Stidham in a couple of years, or like
yeah, maybe.
I really don't know. Or are they waiting? There's rumors that they're going to tank for Lawrence, but
that's what I thought
when
too.
does that ever work though? You can't really take a risk on that. So
exactly, because I think the Patriots have a great team. They have a great team. And I think it's hard even if you lose Brady. And I think everybody can tell that Brady was on the way out even before he left. So like you weren't gonna tank to the substance of where you're gonna be the number 1 pick in the draft because you have such a great defense.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they're going to trade away the McCourty twins, and I don't know, trade Julian. You never know. They don't have Gronk. They don't have Brady. Maybe they'll trade Sonny Michel. I don't know.
No way. That would be like Belichick. I mean, Belichick's not getting any younger.
That's true.
We'll see.
Like
it's gonna be fun.
Signing, but I don't know what they're going to do which is another conversation we should have. Who knows what they're going to do with the quarterback situation in a couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's just say that Cam Newton resurges and has one of the best careers.
Yeah, but he's 31.
Yeah, I mean, he does.
He's not that old though. But
we should bring on Destin because I know he is a huge Panthers fan, so he can give us insight onto what he felt like. And I know he loves Cam Newton, so he'll only vouch for him. But it will be interesting. Yeah,
I'm also all for Bridgewater taking the starting position in Carolina. I think he deserves a chance just because
he does deserve a chance. Yeah, it's funny that he went to the Panthers too because I don't know. We'll see. The Panthers do need help, more or less, on quarterback. But I also think on defense too. But yeah, it's just funny how he goes to the Patriots, to the villains, as we say. All right, so let's move on to are they worth it? We didn't do this segment last week, but we're bringing it back. This guy is JT Realmuto. He's a Phillies catcher, and I think the Phillies want to pay him. So this is kind of something different, and we're just gonna see his value. The Phillies want to pay him $23 million. This would make him the top catcher annual. This would make him the top paid catcher in the league. So he will be a free agent next year in the 2021 season, and he'll only be 30. So he's. What do you think? Is he young or is he old at that point for the MLB?
I mean, I think he's at a good age. I mean, we've still seen like some really good catchers that are really old. I mean, I'll get into more of those numbers and stuff later, but
yeah,
I think, yeah, I mean, for looking at age, I think he's probably at his peak or
all right. So good
maybe.
value there. Good value there. Two-time All-Star. The last 2 years he's made the All-Star team, and he's played 6 seasons in the MLB. He won a Golden Glove and a Silver Slugger Award, so he has the bat and he has the glove. And he finished 14th in MVP voting. So this is probably a good time to get that money. Yeah. So last year, 2019, he batted 275. On base plus slugging percentage was 820, and usually the average is around 700 to 750. So he's a bit above average, but not really MVP level. I think MVP level is 850 slugging. He hit 25 home runs, 83 RBIs, and he had a win above replacements at 4.5. How wins above replacements goes is usually 8+ is MVP, 5+ is an all-star, and then you have 2+ starter, and then 0 to 2 is replacement. But so he's in 4.5, so close enough to all-star. So is he worth the 23 million now? Now we're gonna try and work through that and discuss that. Ryota, do you want to give your insights on this?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do, especially with contracts and anything, is just comparing to other players, right? So I'm going to name some familiar names. So Buster Posey's 33. He makes about 22.1 million per year, and he's the highest paid catcher right now. So
Right,
Realmuto could potentially exceed that. I mean, Posey's like going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, look at his career average: 302, 370 OBP, 826 OPS.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's definitely on his tail end. Like in 2019, he played 114 games because he missed a little bit due to like a concussion and other injuries. He had 257, only 38 RBIs and 7 home runs. I mean, and he's 33, and
so
which makes sense. But I mean, he's still good. I mean, decent behind the plate. He's always been good, defensively. But he makes a lot of money, and yeah, I mean, but he's also just one of those guys that's going to stay in San Francisco forever, probably. They drafted him and they like him. Yadier Molina's 37.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy to think how old he is? But he's still good. He makes 20 mil per year.
That's crazy.
He hit a 282, 333 OBP, 730 OPS career. And then we all know about his defense and his caught stealing. His numbers are crazy.
We should talk about his defense too. Yeah.
There's Monty Grandal, who's kind of been. He hasn't been, great his whole career, but somebody who's kind of popped out after his, success with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
He's 31. He's 8.25 million per year, because he signed with the White Sox recently. In 8 seasons, 241 batting average, 348 OBP, 794 OPS. So his hitting numbers aren't as good, but I'll talk about his defensive numbers later.
Okay.
Salvador Perez, 28, 14.2. No, sorry. No, he's not 28. That's JT. Salvador Perez, 14.2 million per year. And we all know what he can do, and he's been kind of injury laden too. But
it's interesting to note. Sorry, the first 3 players at least were in the National League. I mean, Grandal went to the White Sox, so he'll be in the AL. But most of those 3 were played in the National League, and this is kind of the league where you don't have DH. I don't know. So just something to think about as well.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah. As far as defensive numbers, I think Realmuto is one of the best. At what he does. But I looked at stats from 2016 to 18 analysis. Realmuto is tied 6th in WAR, but WAR that includes pitch framing. And pitch framing is obviously a huge part of catching. He's behind popular names like Grandal, Austin Barnes from the Dodgers, Austin Hedges from the Padres, and Zunino.
Hey,
but also it's weird. Gary Sanchez is above Realmuto, and we don't really think Gary Sanchez is that good defensively for framing. So I don't really know if I trust this, data or not. But it's also hard to, it's hard to calculate that. But WAR without framing, he is first among catchers from 2016 to 18.
Wow.
So apparently, according to this, Realmuto lacks in framing, but which I actually disagree with.
Yeah.
But we know, he's an athlete. He played shortstop in high school. I think that's why he's really mobile, gets some stolen bases too. And I don't know. I think he's one of the top 2 defenders in the league.
I do too. He caught 43 runners stealing last year, and that marked him first in the
Mm-hmm.
major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
So he also, I don't know his career percentage in caught stealing. Maybe you'll look that up. But last year he had 46%. So that was
And that's
above.
darn good.
Yeah, and I think the next closest was Perez at 40%.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a perennial defensive player, and I think his bat is to boot. But like you said, you talked about the first two. 33 years old, kind of on the decline for Posey. And we know that the catching position is one of the hardest hit, the most tolling, on your body.
Right.
I'm kind of worried because they don't have a DH that, if he's not playing, he's
who
not
knows?
going to be.
We might, because like they're talking about league-wide DH right now with the whole COVID pandemic. So I think that could change. I don't really know, but also we've seen Buster play first base last year a lot for the Giants on his offense, which we see with a lot of catchers. And Buster Posey's 6'1", JT Realmuto 6'1".
Okay.
And Realmuto's had history playing the infield before in high school, so it could be
fair.
Potentially. I don't know. That's just one thing to consider, but
yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Well, I don't know if you're. So I don't know, and we'll have to talk about this. I don't know if you're paying for the bat specifically, or the defense as well. And if you're paying for that premier defense, that catching defense, then why are you putting him at first base? I don't know. He obviously he did hit 25 home runs last year, so that's good enough to stick at first base. But I don't know if that 23 million is also going into the defense, and if it isn't, then is he worth the 23 million, or maybe he's only worth the 18? But baseball doesn't have a salary cap, so who cares?
Well, it's interesting to think about though, right? Because I think because of the Giants, they have Brandon Belt, who's like been their first baseman forever. So now that I think about it, it's weird to put Posey there unless Belt's injured, or they're maybe playing in the American League, so they have a DH where they can afford to put Posey at first and Belt at DH, so they can get Posey behind. It's good to give first baseman breaks. We've seen that with other players. I think they tried to teach Yadier to play first base a little bit or something.
I can't believe he's 37 years old.
I know, and he's still. I mean, he had 282 last year, way better than Posey.
I'm looking up the Phillies first baseman.
So another thing important is the Phillies have a really good team right now. They're trying to win, so they really need JT. I think that's why he's also worth a lot. But also, you're right; they have a good first baseman, so he probably wouldn't play first. Actually, Rhys Hoskins started in the outfield, so maybe they'll move him to the left field or right field, and then. But okay, that's a whole other scenario. Hypotheticals right now.
But like, I guess what we're trying to get at is it's not as big in any other sport, just because there isn't really a salary cap, so teams are not constrained to that. They would just have to pay more of the tax. But he is worth the money. What we're trying to say. All right, let's move on.
Is he worth 23 million though? Is he worth more than
Yadier Molina is getting paid 20 million, and he's 37, so there's a durability issue there. And then Buster Posey's getting 22 million, and
But they're also on the tail ends of the contract, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because JT wants about 4 to 5 years, or Phillies want.
Yeah.
Is he worth 20 mil? 20 plus mil?
I think he is. I think he's worth the 20. I think they should pay him the 23 million.
23 million, you think?
I think if he wants to be the top catcher, he should be paid it. I don't see any other catchers right now in the league that are as young as him. I mean, he is 30, but they also have a track record of being really, really good. I mean, for instance, I don't know. I looked up his defensive stats, and they were all upper echelon. I mean, Grandal just got paid, right, 18 million. And do you think he's better than Grandal?
Grandal has slightly better defensive stats.
He's got better hitting stats, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's also about placement too, and if the Phillies believe that he can be effective without having to transition to something else, like a new team, then I think he's worth that extra money. And the worst thing for the Phillies to do is to not pay him, and then for him to go to another team in the division, and then have to face him 10 or 15 times. 23 million is a lot. Yeah. I mean, that would put him, I think Bryce Harper is is getting paid $25 million a year.
No, more than that, right?
Bryce Harper, annual salary. Well, that's a lie because I just Google searched it and he said 10 million. Let me look up contract.
What?
Okay.
No way.
1 minute. Okay, so Bryce Harper, 27 years old, signed a 13-year, $330 million contract. Oh, 27 million. Okay. So he's getting paid 27 million.
It's a lot of money to invest in a catcher.
That yeah.
Also,
now that I saw Bryce Harper,
since we're on the topic of the Phillies, I just want to talk about their team really quickly.
Okay,
so I have the depth chart up.
Yeah.
Look at their starting pitcher potentials: Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Arrieta, Zach Eflin, who came out of nowhere, played really well last year. They have Nick Pivetta and Vince Velasquez.
Wow.
Pretty
Vince
good,
Velasquez
assuming Zach Wheeler and Arrieta can become what they used to be, and then also if Eflin has another great year, and Nola, I'm sure will probably be a Cy Young potential pitcher.
Yeah.
But also looking around their lineup, they have Realmuto, Hoskins, Kingery, Segura. They have Josh Harrison, which I didn't even realize. Didi Gregorius at short, McCutchen, Harper, Bruce. I think they need an outfielder.
I mean, but the thing is, like, that team is still pretty stacked. If you think about just pitching,
but we're looking at a lot of big names, but like McCutchen's not the same. Bruce is not the same. Hopefully Harper can turn things around.
Harper will turn things around. I think he gets a lot of unwanted hate. I think he is very, very good. I think it's going to take him 1 year, and then he'll get back into the swing of things and be that MVP
Wow, they have Francisco Liriano in the bullpen too. They have some big names on their team.
Segura is good. He's a good leadoff hitter.
They're gonna make him hit third or play third because they don't have Franco anymore.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So it might be him or They also have Forsythe and Harrison on the bench. So they have They also have Neil Walker. So they have a bunch of veterans they can go to if they need to.
Well, the thing is, without JT, that it loses a big gap. You know, you don't have that.
You don't have a solid catcher that can be hit 2, 3, or 5 or 6.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you lose that, and then it's like, is 23 million too much to not invest in another catcher, and you already have these other big names on the contract? Mm-hmm. You also have to think about that. I mean, I don't know. This team is definitely win now, like you said. Mm-hmm. That rotation is very good, has potential to be great. And I really think you only need like 2 or 3 pitchers to be amazing.
To be amazing, but we'll just see. Phillies would be an interesting team to look at later.
They will be. Are they getting a lot of like World Series? I don't think they are, because whenever I think about the National League, I think about the Dodgers. Yeah. And then I stop.
Yeah, I think the Phillies will kind of be an underdog. Yeah, now that I think about it, not many analysts are talking about them. I think it depends on Bryce, though.
Yeah, it really does. The Dodgers will be amazing, though, now that they have Mookie Betts.
Yeah, if the season happens, they might not. Like they're saying that maybe the Red Sox won this trade.
Oh my gosh, that's
Mookie doesn't even play a single game.
That's unbelievable.
Okay, but we'll get on. That could be an interesting. Are they worth it as well? But quickly before we get into our main segments for the day, forecast for the weekend. What do you have, Drew?
So the 4th of July is coming up. On the sporting events, not much happening. Rita might talk about some soccer, but 4th of July, everybody stay in, hopefully. I don't know if there's a lot of fireworks happening, so that's more incentive to stay home. Just watch some good shows. I know Netflix has been spouting out some good new content. They have Space Force with Steve Carell. I have yet to watch that, but I'm waiting for the 4th of July to do that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good shows on, and it's a good time to stay home and be with your family and be safe. Do you have any other shows that you want to talk about?
Recently, I watched Space Force. If you like The Office, you like the Space Force. It's kind of like similar comedy, but
I'm excited.
I think if you don't really like that kind of comedy, then you probably won't be that interesting. I also watched Eurovision, which came out a couple of days ago on Netflix. That's Will Ferrell, and I forgot the actress's name.
Oh, is that the dancing one?
It's a singing one.
Oh, the singing one. Okay.
She's Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams, yes.
Yeah. Demi Lovato also stars in a little bit. I thought it was a pretty funny. I mean, it's a Will Ferrell movie. I thought it was pretty fun. Hamilton comes out July 3rd, the day before July 4th on Disney Plus.
That's perfect.
Which might be kind of fun to watch because it's super famous. And who doesn't like Manuel
Yeah,
Miranda? So
exactly. And it was on Broadway for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So just more incentive to stay home.
Yeah. But yeah, everyone probably should stay home just because how things are going on. Wear your mask.
But there is another PGA Cup tour. I think I already
you could watch that too.
Prefaced it, so you can also watch that. Yeah. Just wait for some basketball and some baseball to start up again.
Yeah, that's what we're all waiting for.
All right, that finishes off our segment. Thanks again for listening, and see you next week.
Yeah, make sure to follow and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks, guys. Shoot.